Catch my stockings, Liberty de garters, shoddy shoes quicked out with silver, penny fair caps on pinafore frocks, and a ring on a foam finger. And they leap so looply, as they link to light, and they look so lovely, Louvre light, noosed in a nuptious night. With dazzly glints in and decoy glance out, they ramp it a little, then romp ride round in rout. Say them all, but tell them apart. Cadazando, Colorado to R is Rubretta, and A is Arancia. Y is for Yilla, and N for Greener. In. B is Boy Blue, with odorless go, while W waters the florets of remembrance. Though they're all but merely a schoolgirl, yet these ways went they, in the view of the avenue, dancing dons and trancing roundly, Miss Oodles of Arnhems before the Louvrium does like, so, and then again does like, so, and Miss Endless of Eons after dies of I does like. So, and then again does like, so, the many wiles of Winshore. The grocer's bored, she slips her hand in the Haricot bag, the lady-in-waiting sips her sup from the paraffin can. Mrs. Wildhair, quick doctor, helps the scouts up the causeway. The flashed instinct she herds if a tinkle of thunder. The widow MacGreevy, she knits cat's cradles. This bountiful actress leashes a harrier under her tongue, and here's the girl who she's kneeled in cold fashion, and she's told her priest, she's spot on a chap, and this last not the least, this Rickersham woman, who she writes fooled fortunes many times over in the nursery durst with her capital thumb, birds all runaway sheep-bound back bo-beep, trailing their teens behind them, and these ways went they, and those ways went they, Winnie, Oliver, and Beatrice, Nellie and Ida, Amy and Rue. Here they come back, all the gay pack, for they are all florals, and from Fancy and Pansy to Papaver's blush, forsake be naught, while there's leaf, there's hope, with Primtim's rose and Mary Ram's blossom, all the flowers of the Ansel's garden. But vice reversing thereout from those palms of perfection to anger arbor, Trirak Monatan, scrousely out of scorch of ocean. Vivid with woad, what tournaments of complimentary rages rocked the Divlin from his punch pole to his tummy shunter, as he displayed all the oathword science of his visible disgrace. He was feeling so funny and flawed for the cue, all over which girls as he don't know who's you. If Goosey's Grazius would but fain smile him a smile, he would be fondling a praise, he ate some nice bit of fluff. But no jest reveals the uncunneth. They're all odds against him, the beastie scratched that. He dove his head into Watmurray, gave Stuart Riall a puck on the plexus, wrestled a hurry-come union with a jillybeg, wiped all his sinuses, Marshall and menial out of Shrove Sunday MacPherson, excremuncted as freely as any frost-blower into Mac-Isaac, had a belting bout chase to chase with MacAdoo about nothing in childhood's age, being I the shame at least, tell a Tartar and Taster and to some Towerscone two-ton vestament of Horus, Chlamydophagian imbretellated himself for any time untellable, with what hung over to the Manalconchi middle from the Mac Sicarais of the Greeks home. All while Maush Messuus from Mungy Muncie, praying in his mind, son of Everaldin, within himself, he's sure. Macnoon Magready Mag, cross of a coppersmith bishop, he would split. He do big squeal like holy Trichapat. Sick hells, where from Yankees Islanders, the patriots' absolation, Moknitsa Jenik, he takes skiff come first green day over ride tumbler, rough and dark, till when bow of the shower of the bower, with 3 shirts and a wind, pagoda, permanent, Crocolavant, the Bruce, the Coriolano, and the Ignacio. From Brudels to the secular, but from Cumin to the Nauta. Bye-bye, Brasilis, I'm breathing. Our war, dully grey, my Connor's dream of load of circles. He here, sluice the finish, Galtreza no more, missionary for the ministry. All the sems of Arum, Shimak, Eon of Erwa, Mums for Maxim, Bands for books, Dodgham's Dora for Hedgehog, Sheol Mistress. And unlike Silan's coach in the diligence, disconnection of the succeeding he whole hog himself. For carb with banishment care of Pennsylvania, British America to melt Mrs. Gloria of the Bunkers Trust Incorporated. Prunty by meteoromancy and linguified Heisrogin, quit to hail a hurry Laracot, and catch the Panami Tuacum, and regain that absentee Tower Easty his sitter immediata, by an alley and detour with fair card available, 20 years right for Rovey the Roader. From the safe side of the distance, Liberae Nostalgia, Bieta Laurenti, O'Toole Jura Pra Nobis, every monk his own castle, with every little fligger is his own Leo Joe Tenenti, with inclined jams in full purview to his prona osa and the devatain of his reridus. Few's finisher, few of escaper. He would with the greatest of ease before the waiting Miduk by dear home threshold on the raging canal. For other sights of Jordan heave a heavy water boy, make one of his histons, with a knock on the cow and a chow collegians and a fire off, jowl, geonal, foul, substunand mulmud, his fast epistle to the Hebrews. From Senilius Slumtime Prebostis of Tumeria to the clutch in Antioch salvo laddigs and junta men. No more turden skulls, free leaves for everybody's, all tints amon in the yard, with harmon aches till further altars, while primates not stop him from rearing and writing in handy antics, nom de plume, gout strap, fenlands, and send jargs for merry inclenders, for don't you log in his vin shankies shvemi, for he is the general, made no mistake, and he is General Jinglesome. Go in for scrivenery with the satiety of authors in SPQR-ish, and inform to the old sniggering pup-licking press and its nation of sheep-copers about the whole plighted troth between them. Malady of Milady, made melody of malady, she the lalage of lionesses, and him a neighbour unto wild Rose la Gilligan from Croppy Crowhaw, for all within crystal range. Ucalep, Lothers leave, hard days, Nemo and Patria, the lunch out, Skilly and Scarbush, a wandering wreck from the Mermaid's Tavern, bully famous, naughty scarves, mother of misery, Walpacus Dact, Malish. He would bear to untired world of Lyman Conon Ulstria, what a strip poker glob trouble. Their pairs would look how holy fallows his guffer. The Sabbatinarian might faction split his beard. He too had a great big O in the megafundum of his Tomashundas, and how her letty shape, his gummer, that congealed sponsor, she had never cessed at waking matters along the Jemisons since the duft at Metax. Delta made her macrocosm as gap as down low, so they fished in the kettle and fought free, and if she bit his tail about, all hat tiffin for thee. He would juice it all right down, just as he would Jesus set it up all writhfully rated, blotch and void, yielding to no man in him's ignorance, seeing how heartily sorry he was, owning to the contrition of his bike stool, and reading of his flesh kin, and writing with his quill bound full 9 quires for it all for his auditors, Caxton and Pollock, a most miraculous jury head, Sinbook for all the peoples, under the presidency of his success of Skin of Scow, a had Tobe Heldon, thoroughly enjoyed by many or so many on block at buoyant season, and for their account utterly admired by her husband, in sole intimacy about whose told his innocence and gruesome heads, Eureka of his spectroscope, and why he was off colour, and how he was emballed upon the very spit of himself, first on the cheek side by Michelangelo, and presumes that over on the old jowly side by Bill C. Babby, and the suburbs formule why they provincials Drolo Rex bailed him out of his hometry drometry now need domum, Osco de Basco de Pesco de Bisco, because all his creature comfort was an omulet finas herbas in an arc finas opera, and no master how mustard mine never mend. He could neither swook nor neither swimp in the flood of seashlim-ism, and the best and shortest way of blacking out a quarter lock of all the sorrows of Sexton, until he would accoster her come, il foo in tetty doos, as a wagged a wood his mud, he'll de wheeze and donk at their tryst in Paris, after 2 months of 1,000 years, bread cast out on the waters, making good at maturity, Mon Damoiselle of Casanova, and Mademoiselle from Armatiers, Nebla Novanis Never Novoria, Nobio and Nobi in Enoviation, Occitanti Tempoli. He would see through several of sanctuaries, may what may, might who might, so as to meet somewhere. If produced on a demi-pension for his old loof time, payment in goo and slee music, and poisonal company, following which, like ipsy secum, but she fingered it for all on the flutter, she would have all the G, S, M she moohooed after 4 and Rickwards to herself, including science of sonorous silence, while he, being grown up, on soul butter having recourse, of course, to poetry, with tears for his coronation, such as engines weep, was life worth leaving? Nedge. Full doth treat twen, Zokra sing stone, arty reminiscentive, a bandsful finale, on grand Carriaro, dreaming largesse of life size over early lived offs, all old satires of the sow sceptre, highly nutritious, family histrionic, genitrixling with avus and avia, that simple pair and descendant down on wool pads by avuncular process to Nouros and Nouvocar, those notorious nepotists, circumpictified in their sovereign senses, buttress all of them by the glows on their germain faces and their sorcerine eyes like transparents of Vitricus. Patroots to a man, the Archimad levers of his Ecodome world. Remember thee, castle throwen, one prospereps treed, now stow hong baroque, and oil paint use a poom if yell trace me there, tittle to wear, was a hovel not a hovel, the first rattle of his Juniverse, with a ting-tum tingling and a next and a next, Gin a paddy got a petty, Gussie's gifted ope, while itches shum. My God, alas, that dear old tum-tum home, whereof in youth food port I craved, amook the verdy grassy convicts' falsal dazes, and cloited for armourment in thy bosom shed. His mouth full of ecstasy for shin young thing in China from Urium across the Timor Sea, Hereupon maladventure shot ping-ping, up to the arrows of his wisdom, who thought him a Fona all-feast king of Shelleys, by googling lovey regally fry the rim, eagerly plumed and wasped gumboil, our withy prods, wretchsome horsery, meagre plods, coffin acid, O darky ploods dense, floppins muggedy, as thought it had been thou when in twow, wholly sanguish blooded up, disconvulsing the fixtures of his phiz, a pang which his temperature made him a crazy chump of a Harvard tube silly arse. Joshua Croesus, son of Nun, though he shall live for millions of years, a life of billions of years, from the rose-acred glows to the violas lustres, he shall not forget that pucking Pegasus, holy howls balls and bloody acres, like nothing on earth heard. But by Jove, cronide seed of some, after at he had bait his breastplates for forgetting his birthplace. It was soon that he had rehad himself by a prayer, no, that comes later by contrite attrition, knave, that we passed mid-exorcism, no, so's richt. And it was so, and Malthus Moramore resumed his soul, with go Furtius off to Alad out of this, an old Stein song. He threw his fit up to the ears, rolled his polygon eyes, snivelled from his nose, and blew the guff out of his horny pipe. The hop-joint jerk of a ladle broom jig that he learned in Blockafoco, when a red-hot turnspike he. Under rain of old roast in the bowl, Ratskillers, radios. Why was that man for his doing her wrong? Lookery looks how his knots in his entrails. Mookery mooks, it's a gripe of his gripes. Sickery six, why his bridging his head off. Cokery cokes, it's a spirt out of a coal. And may his tar pitch dilute not give him a chromatis, for the more of that blinks, you blank is mostly carbo. Where the inflammabilus might perceive his come up under, with his pure flame and a true flame and a flame all together. Suit. The worst is over, wait, and the doobany mag may gang to creases, with dinny finnin me canty ho, in the lust of the gleamans, so he moused, for he would himself deal, a treatment as might be trusted in anticipation of his inculmination into fructification for the major operation. When Pip, a message interfering, intermittent, into skips from them, pet, on Hessian waves, call her Venicy names, call her Estelle, a butterfly from her zip-clasped handbag, a wounded dove started from, escaping out of her forecoat's I'll wail for use, and o'er Lynch, the poetessa, and around its scorched cap, she has twilled a twine of flame to let the latest know she's married, and Pimmet goes black-balled, tot burns it so lest a Clarabelle come back to errand, hers before he's even posted ere penned. Here's your change, think you, medium? Go, Daphnoon, madden, mind the step, please stoop, oh to please, stop what's saying, I have some yender from him to now. Dear mate ashore, so, come pleasely till I can get redressed, which means the end of my stays in the language of Tintangle. Is your zealous of mes brothers? Did you bow Morty load? You supposed it to be on the conditionlessly rejected, Satanly laid. Can that sob stuff, whingy Willie, stop up Mavrone and sit in my lap pepet? Though I'd much rather not, like things are MDs. Is all invincibles decoded. Now a run for his money, now a dash to her dot. Old cocker, young Crowy, Sifada, Thosson, a brand new speed hound, outstripper us on the wind like a waft to wing weary, one or a soz to a coast guard. For directly with his whoop, stop, and an palapsy didado, a tishy, in appreciable less time than it takes a glaciator to submerge her in Atlantis, was he again a gob before the trembly ones, the sparks gap off, double dash gesht, gotten all up, in a simple lazail were made, and shaking the storm out of his hiccups, the smartest vessel you could find would lazily him on her knee for as lucky for the Rio Grande. He's a pigtail tar, and if he hadn't got it too thick, he'd a telltale tall of his picture on a wall with his photo in the papers for cutting mutant legs and capers, letting on he'd just be japers and his tail cooked up. Goal, it's won by its length. Angelina's hide from those light hues that your thin bow may bring to light. Now down from your dour strip he's bent to knee, he maunt no ledgings here. For a haunting way will go when you need not make your mow, find the fringe for frocks, and translace it into shocks of such as touch with show and show. He is guessing at hers for all he is worse, the seagoer. Hark to his wily geeses goosling by, and play fair lady, and note that they, who will for exile stay, can for dog, while them that won't leave Ingle End says now for now. For he falters, how he hates to trouble them without. But leaving Codhead's mitre, and the heron's plumes, sinistrant to the server of servants, and Rex of Regums, and making a bolder dash, for loquidity of speech he asks not to have you seen, a match being struck, nor is the powder mine, but let pun plays pass to earnest. Haps thee J.O.1 no Fergs, now, haps thee may jaunties, neo how, haps thee per causes, nuns the bellies, neo heo hio, asky gallon, Mikaiko get. Ping and pang, nuan ping puan pong. And he did a get their annoyance and slink his hook away, alligator come alligator, like a chimista in chamisas, whom the Hawakana hurries and hotfoots, zingo zango zagur. The hoots of Utskut, Urgud, Jamal, Gum, Yalla, Yawash, Yak, for he could Jepachio upon the scarp, snack of pure underfallen Engelsk, melon moon of Tata tortoise, Tsui Saki, or Sopis upon, as vastly and as bastly as your cheese jaw cow could spinach. Makoto Wagtad Kwairide. Galagala knows he is, yet right divining do not was. Over Bovo, Havogate, Hogidimatsi in Kamicha. He had his spirit so foulen on him to vet. Most griposely he was bedizzled and debuzzled. He had his tristiest cavalier on, and looked like Buddy Hall, a shelling a cockshy and be donkey shot at, or a peso bezant to join the Armada. But thin Chopinza could any brody which walked this world with eyes wide open have looked twinsomer than the curl he left behind him, Canditatus, Viridosus, Aurelocens, Stinilab. Of all the green heroes ever wore cotton breeches, the white most the goldenest, how he stood theirs with himself mixed, Kevinly, and their anti-revolutionary. The churchman child father from Dunce's Tuft to Almonder's toes, a hagiography in duo to Gessimee, son Subtimus, of Zaya Sixtus, of Mayor Queenie's sign ashore, heavenly buddy time, unwreathed of his near sissies, a mickly dazzly, eely oily, with Lucis Corals, a soul netster by Vesdal's priestess, their trail attractive, and dem dandy painies knows the play of the eyelids, with his gamecock spirits and his smile like quid glue, the suicious suria ever wheedling war, whilst his host of spritties, lus pillow and knees, they went beheading ripid around him, pilgrim pinkups, Carolo Cavano, and Eucharistic congratulations, quite purringly excited, RPD, RPD, alluding to him by all nicknames in the litany with the terms in which no little Dulcie ne'er ever thinks about implying except to her future years, and sending him perfume most bravus, to satisfy her more than a teastum. Shall we help, now you've masmulled you? Trigolet a bit? Yismizzy, that he? The fine-hued, the fair-hailed, the far ahead might butch save unto each but every one. As far as Saphras durst assume, the have mercies Yonus of his Kissia license, meanings, endure the injurious till embether. We know you like Latin with esses impures, and your labour as they see, we certainly like gurgles love the nargly-gargly, so our BG tell that old Frankie boy up to bellows up the tumpucky and his tum-tum a-gargan, and give us a gust of his gushy old goof. Hymn number 29. Oh, the singing, happy little girlie comes, to adulterate such in Adelphus, oh, the swinging hoopus, so golden. They come to chant on shore, they say their salat, the Medians, prayers to the Messiah of his nabis, prostituting themselves, each wise and combinedly. Fatter hair fold the hands, be it honoured bow the head, may thine evening's end be blissful, even of bliss, as we so hope for ablution for the sake of the far bung, and of the scent and of the holier drops. Amems. A pause, their hour sun arises misk white as Osman glory ebbing wasteward, leaves to the soul of light its fading silence. Ah la 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 la, a turquoise sky. Then Xanthos, 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 we thank to thine mighty innocent that didst bring of the full freet. Should in after years it became about you, will after deck job duty becoming a bank midland mansion we and I shall reside with our obeisant servants among Burke's mobility at Le Rosary. Aylesbury Road, red bricks are all hellishly good values, if you trust to the roster of ads, but we'll save up ourselves and nab what's nicest and buskiest of timber trees in the neighbourhood. Uncal's plot, Lookham's oaks, Turkis hazels, Greek firs, Incel's palm, etc. The hypsometers of Mount Anvil is held to be dying out of Arth Attics. But pray send Larix, Ur Thul, the witch elm of Manalau is still flourishing in the open, because it's native of our nature and the seeds were sent by fortune. We'll have our private palipicum, pillar postons for lovesick letteriness, fondly avias angst, to our front railings and swings, hammocks and tight-taut ballot lines, accommodation nooks and prismatic bathboats, to make envy eyes mouth water and wonder, where they binoculars from their embrasured windows in our garden rare. Fiat shall be our number, on the auto kinartan of Chubby and his chuffs, ours forlornly chauffeur. Tea will be waiting for uns as I sold you at the first outrees. Our cousin Gourmand Percy, the pup, will denounce the sniff nomers of all callers were among our Siamese sister, Tabitha the 9 lives will extend to the full her hearth welcome. While the turf and twigs say tattle tin 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 tin, Lady Marmalade Shortbread will walk in for supper with her marchpane switch on, her necklace of almonds, and her poirette Sunday dress with bracelets of honey, and her cocker Neil hose with the Garamel dancings, the briskly best from Bootsy's town, and a sucking staff of ivory mint. You mustn't miss it, or you'll be sorry. Chalmers's Chloe's glittering jewels, Lydia light fans and perfumed cigarettes, and the Prince Lemonade has been graciously pleased. Her 6 chocolate pages will run bugling before him, and cocoa cream toddle after with his stick sword in a pink cushion. We think his sparkling head highness ought to know. Lady Marmalade, Louisum his for Lissum hers. He's not going to Cork till Cantalamies, or Mayhope till Rose Easter or St. Tibble's Day. So neither knows. The former's in his fin, the mormer's her and thin. A power-alone, and Dublin's all a din. We'll sing a song of single months, and you'll too, and you'll. Here are notes, there's the key, 1, 2, 3. True, so come on, you wealthy gentrymen. Whip frocks full of fun. Thin, 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 thin. They're jolly and they're lively. Thou Billy with thee coo, for to jog a jig of crispiness nice, and sing a missile too. Hip champoree, hip hip champoree. Oh, you long-tailed black man, polk it up behind me. Hip champoree, hip hip champoree. And Jessie's pushed the pump kick round. An allure.